The greatest scientific delusion in history. Global temperature doesn't exist. Hello, I am Dr. K. Paul Stoller, and I can remember the actor Leonard Nimoy warning us of a coming ice age on TV almost 50 years ago, but that got co-opted by the global warming narrative, and that was replaced by the climate change narrative, generating fear and a faux need to control fellow humans for profit and other exploitive modalities. We were told climate engineering was to prevent us from getting too hot on the planet, while all the while knowing the real risk was what Mr. Spock, aka Leonard Nimoy, warned us about. Ice ages kill and can kill billions, and the foolish globalists knew that? Why do you think there are chemtrails in the middle of winter? Think about it. They want to accelerate the reemergence of an ice age under the cover of preventing it from getting too hot. Clever little demons, aren't they? Reducing carbon dioxide in the atmosphere risks such an ice age. Meanwhile, a whole throng of false environmental prophets position themselves to receive massive financial benefits from all their green enterprises. First and foremost, there's no such thing as a global temperature. Not, it's hard to measure. Not, it's inaccurate. It is physically impossible. And almost every scientist on Earth, alarmist and skeptic alike, pretends otherwise. In real physics, temperature only exists for systems in perfect thermal equilibrium. Earth has weather, oceans, seasons, day and night. It is the definition of a non-equilibrium system. Therefore, by the laws of thermodynamics, Earth cannot have a single temperature, period. In 2007, 3 respected physicists, Christopher Essex, Ross McKitrick, and Niels Bohr, Institute thermodynamicist Bjarne Andresen, published a mathematical proof titled, "Does a global temperature exist?" Their answer, no. They showed that for any set of real temperature measurements, you can produce infinite different global averages, some rising, some falling, all mathematically valid, none physically meaningful. It is impossible to talk about a single temperature for something as complicated as the climate of Earth. It would correspond to calculating the average phone number in the phone book. Andresen's analogy is exact. Averaging phone numbers is not approximately correct. It is meaningless. So is averaging Earth's temperatures. 18 years later, not one peer-reviewed paper has refuted their proof. Not one. The climate science community responded with the loudest sound in science. Total silence. Yet trillions of dollars in policy, entire university departments, and international treaties are built on managing this non-existent number. They even present it in Celsius degrees, as if it were an actual temperature. That is scientific fraud by notation. Here's what makes this the greatest delusion in history. Even the bravest critics of the IPCC, scientists who lost careers fighting climate alarmism, still accept global temperature without question. They attack models, data adjustments, predictions, everything. Except the one thing that is physically impossible. This is not normal scientific error. This is mass formation. An entire field hypnotized into believing a simple single number can describe the most complex thermal system in the solar system. Grants, careers, reputations, treaties, everything depends on protecting the sacred statistic. Admitting it's meaningless would collapse the cathedral overnight. The equations have not changed since 1870. The proof has not been answered since 2007. The silence has not been broken in 18 years. There is still no global temperature. There never was. And almost no one on either side will say it out loud. When the entire world argues for decades over a quantity that physics says cannot exist, that is not science. That is the biggest delusion in scientific history. Read the paper that was never answered. Essex, McKitrick, Andresen, 2007. Does a global temperature exist? The emperor has no temperature.